The trailer was all action, no journalism, but then the movie itself was just like all journalism and not really much action. Civil War. I'm curious to find out what this whole Civil War was fought over, but I guess we don't need to know that because that's apparently not important in a movie called Civil War. They could have come up with a better title. What would have been a better title for this? War journalism. They put all the good action scenes in the trailer and they tried to market it as really intense war movie, which I mean, it was still pretty intense. I expected to learn more about the war. What caused the war? I mean, all we know is Texas and California joined forces, took down the freaking federal government because the president went for a third term. And I'm like, why was that? Why did that happen? Like, we never find out because this movie is not about that. If you're going into this expecting a movie about like war, action, and like politics, you're probably not going to enjoy this movie that much. With that said, this movie is not about the fighting. It's not about the politics. It's about journalism and how traumatizing being a journalist is, being a war journalist specifically is. I felt I was lied to with all the trailers and the marketing of this movie. I still found a way to enjoy it. I thought it was a decent movie. There's a lot of art in the way the film was portrayed. There's a lot of beautiful scenes. There's a lot of slow motion, no sound, that kind of a thing to let you really feel the emotion. This film is mainly about journalists as they're on their way to Washington, D.C. so they can interview the president, which is so weird because I'm just like, in a civil war where the president is being pushed back and like his forces are decimated, it's like, why would you hide in the White House? Why would you be in the spot everyone knows you're at? Like, wouldn't you like hide somewhere? So the whole war is happening in the background. This is in the midst of a very intense civil war. They do run into a lot of dangerous situations because we're supposed to learn that what they're doing isn't safe, but they're choosing to do this. I didn't ever really understand because I don't know anything about journalism. I don't know why you would put yourself in that kind of a situation, in such a dangerous situation. But I guess if we didn't have journalists, we wouldn't get those pictures of the action and these intense stories that are written in papers and the news. This new girl, Jessie, she is she's young, so she's kind of noob. Leah's trying to convince her that, this job, you're gonna have to learn the ways of being a war journalism and you have to like set your feelings aside, and she's kind of like super intense. Jessie in the beginning is like asking Lee, so if I like got shot, would you like take a picture of that? And then Lee was like, what do you think? And that was like great foreshadowing because in the end, okay, I'm going to spoil this movie. In the end, it happens, but the roles are flipped. That was a really intense moment that made me really hate Jessie. And I'm like, I already didn't like her that much. She's like, I don't want to be a burden, but I'm like, you kind of are being a burden, Jessie. You kind of are. There were so many situations they were in because she was there. She's almost taking too many risks, and I'm like, why is she learning? I mean, I guess it makes sense that she would learn to do this, but she wasn't really thinking. I feel like in the end she was so intoxicated by the adrenaline that she literally just forgot about trying to be safe. Like, she was just like, I'm just here. I just want to capture like the greatest moments. I don't care what happens to me. If you don't take care of yourself, it puts a lot more burden on other people, on the people around you, because they're all worried and then they have to put themselves in danger to protect you. So yeah, I didn't like her. I'm sorry, I didn't like Jessie. Didn't really support the direction in which she was developing in. And then in the end, yeah, I'm like, yep, that happened. In the midst of gunfire. And then she like jumps out to take a picture. And then obviously someone from the other side like tries to shoot her. And then Lee has to jump in and block the bullet for her. As Lee is shot and dying, Jessie's on the ground and she's just taking a picture of it. What happened to her? Maybe that was the point of the movie, to show that, you change as a person. But I'm just like, Lee didn't turn out that way. Like, she was hardened from all the years of journalism and then like, seeing all of this trauma and doing all of this. But even she wasn't as evil as Jessie. There was this one scene where they get captured by that dude in the red glasses. He's asking them what kind of American they are. That was probably one of the better scenes in this movie. Honestly, this scene was intense. I was scared. I don't think I've ever been this scared of someone with a gun in my life. Not that I've never actually dealt with guns, so I don't know. But this scene, I was imagining myself in that scene. And I'm like, I don't even know what I would do. Just watching it, my heart was like beating out of my chest. There was actually quite a few moments in this that were like intense because of the sound, like the gunshots. If they didn't have like sudden gunshots, some people might have fallen asleep. The whole movie felt like it was building up to something, but then it didn't really build up to anything. I guess they were building up to that Lee's death scene. It was that necessary stepping stone for Jesse to finally become a journalist monster. Is this movie trying to say all journalists have to be like monsters like Jesse? Because I don't think so. Because I think Lee was fine. She was still respectful. She still was grounded fundamentally. But I feel like Jesse is just unhinged. She's just like not here anymore. She's gone. There was no emotion on her face when Lee was falling to the ground after being shot. And then she continued to go forward, push forward toward the president. And then she took that last picture too. So I'm just like, wow. I wonder if she felt proud of herself. I think her mind was out of it. She's like astro projecting somewhere else. She was so desensitized to it all. Let's summarize the message of the movie. Journalism turns you into a monster. Isn't that what it is? What else did they want us to say about journalism? They didn't even go into like how they write the stories. Like, do you have to exaggerate the stories so you get a wider readership? What makes a good picture? What makes a good moment to capture? I didn't even get to learn like why people would choose to become journalists. I know there was a little bit of that in this because Jessie had a lot of passion for it. I mean, she followed Lee. She was like, oh, you're like one of my idols. Like, I want to be like you. And I'm just like, okay, but we never learn about what the glory of journalism is. Why would people want to become journalists? I mean, I guess you're just there to capture stories. See, the thing is, they didn't even talk about, are they capturing the truth or are they capturing bits and pieces of the truth and then exaggerating it? Or are they taking things out of context? I don't trust everything in the news. I don't trust everything in the journals. They always exaggerate, don't they? I was in the newspaper in high school and they wrote a terrible story about me and they took a terrible picture of me. They don't care. They just want people to read it. Twist the story into something that people will be interested in reading. That's what I feel like a lot of journalism is. Unless it's not that. And journalism, you're really trying to capture the truth. I don't know anything about journalism. See, I'm just like, I wish the movie had showed me something. Is capturing the truth or capturing whatever you're trying to capture worth risking your life for? That's the part I was not convinced. I was like, you journalists are crazy. You're going into these dangerous places and you're doing this for what though? I guess for your story, but like when I read a story, when I read an article, I don't even know who wrote it. I just remember the article. I don't remember the person who was there and captured it. Does anybody? Maybe I'm different. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm being disrespectful and I really should focus on the person writing it. That shouldn't matter more than the story though. This is a great use case for AI, robot drones or something where you just send them in with cameras. We don't need humans in this kind of a job. It's too much. Maybe you can have a human control a robot so the robot can go to the front line and you can just stay back. But anyways, that's all I had to say. I'm like rambling now. Thank you guys for watching this video. You can let me know how you felt about Civil War. I would love to know. I'll see you guys in my next video.